Today's video is going to revolve around the topic of a cleft lip and palate. I'm going to answer a question that I was asked via inbox here on YouTube, and the reason why I decided to answer it in a video form is because I think that it would benefit a lot of people. Hopefully it's not too late. She did message me at the end of November, and I'm so sorry it has taken me so long. I couldn't find your message for a while, and I really thought about doing it in a video form, and well, here I am. Hopefully this helps out in some sort of way. Thank you so much for your kind words. This message was sent to me from Roxanne from Canada, and your kind words mean the world to me. She was asking me about the NAM. I'm just going to share my thoughts on it. The NAM is and I can't quite pronounce it, it's a it stands for nasovelar molding. And I'll show you guys a picture of what that looks like. This procedure is sometimes, as she said, it's what is it called? Controversial, because it's invasive and there's risk factors. So sometimes whenever you have, when the baby has a cleft lip and it extends all the way to the nose, one of the nostrils collapses a little bit, so it looks something like this. So that means that in the future, possibly the baby might need surgery, nose surgery. Jace, my son, wasn't a candidate for the NAM. It's like a bilateral cleft lip, but it gives you sort of an idea of what the NAM looks like there with the taping on the side. In my case, a few weeks after the baby, I was going to go see the team after the baby was born, a couple of weeks, so that they could determine what was going to be needed and what was not going to be needed. It was going to be the dentist part of the team, because a whole team is involved in the surgery. So I asked the dentist was going to decide if the baby needed the NAM, and he told me that he was going, ultimately it was going to be my decision, but he was going to tell me his recommendation, and in his experience that the NAM does make a difference. I think that if my son would have been a candidate for the NAM, I would have done it. What was explained to me by my surgeon is that that in the first 3 months of a baby's life, you can mold their face very easily. So for example, if a baby is born with an ear that is folded, it's very easy to fold it back without surgery, or nose or anything. You can mold a baby's face. It's in the first 3 months, so that is why it's needed when they're so small. I was worried about the feeding and things like that, but my advice would be, or what I would do in your place if my son had qualified for it, I would have done it. Because if it was going to prevent a surgery in the future, I think that I would at least have tried it and decide from there. If your doctor hasn't even looked, or if your doctor hasn't looked at your son to determine if he needs it or not and just decides that the baby's gonna need it, I just would question that. We were wondering what my son's treatment included, any pre-surgical procedure, and if so, what did it entail, how young was he? He didn't qualify for the taping or the NAM. We just used pigeon bottles for feeding. We went to meet with the team 2 weeks after he was born, and then before the surgery, and just to explain how the whole day was going to play out the day before. He was 3 or 4 months for the first surgery, and he was 11 months for the palate surgery. The reason why I think that the NAM is important, and I would have done it if my son was a candidate for it, is because what scares me most about surgery is the anesthesia part, especially when a baby's so young. It's just really tough. So right before Jace's first surgery, I asked the anesthesiologist if I could be in the room before he goes into surgery, and a lot of times they don't allow parents to be in the room because it's very stressful, but I just was super calm and was like, please let me in the room. And I did go in the room, and I wanted to be the last person that saw my son's face and the first person that he woke up to. And I took my baby in there, and I put him in this tiny table in this cold room, and I remember they used like some sort of mask until he goes to sleep, and it's really fast. So they put the mask, and sometimes the baby can cry or just wiggle and doesn't want that on their face, and I guess that's where it gets scary because you can't remove it until he sleeps, and when he goes to sleep it's like boom, he just goes to sleep. But he was looking at me so peaceful, and at the anesthesiologist, and the anesthesiologist started singing a song, and he was just so calm, and he just looked at me, and then he went to sleep, and then immediately they rushed me out of the room. That's pretty much it. Again, thank you so much for your question. Hopefully this helps out in some way. I send you lots of loving vibes to you and your baby, and I hope nothing but the best for you. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Please put them in the message below, in the comments below, and I would love to make a video about it. I want to talk more about cleft lip and palate. I met a lady the other day at work, and I don't know why, but I decided to share that my son was born. I think I was talking about my son, but I decided to share that he was born with a cleft lip and palate, and she was like, I had one, and I was like, I could not even tell. I was like, really? And I think I was talking about speech therapy or something like that, and she said I had speech therapy. She went to the same hospital that my son went to, and her surgeon has now passed away, but he did an amazing job, and she might be in her 60s maybe, I don't know, but I think it's really, really cool, like what a good job they did, because normally in like my parents' generation you can tell when somebody has had a cleft lip, and nowadays technology has come so far that like for my son you can't hardly tell unless I tell people. But anyway, I started talking to her, and I just felt inspired to share with her more things, and she stops and she tells me, you know, you never really know who you're talking to. She felt like it was some sort of, I don't know, like it was meant to be that we cross paths and that we talk about this, because she had never really talked about it, and she said that she just kind of shared what it was like to go through so many surgeries. She went through a lot, and how she was bullied in school, and she never really felt beautiful, and she felt some sort of reassurance from what I was sharing with her from my perspective as a mom, and because she's the one that went through it, and my son's the one that's going through it, but I'm the mom, so I'm not really going through it, if that makes any sense. So I was just telling her how, as a mom, you fall in love with your son's first smile, and a lot of people will tell you it's, you know, like it's a beautiful white smile, and you don't want to change a thing, kind of have to. And looking at the positive side, we are able to fall in love with two different smiles. I remember after surgery when he smiled with his new smile, it's sort of like a bittersweet moment, because I really loved his first smile too, and he was perfect before and after surgery, so you don't really want to change anything. And from the mom perspective, that's just, you know, what I was feeling and going through, but she shared what she was going through as a person going through it. And she was like, you know, I know that my mom did the best that she could, and she took me to all of these things, and she was finding the resources that she needed to find, because she said that like her mom didn't have money for the surgery, and it's a very expensive surgery. And just sharing her story, and when she said that she never really talked about it, but she was sharing it with me, it's like she needed to talk about it, and I was happy that I got to be a part of that. Yeah, she's a very lovely lady, and I told her, you're so beautiful, and I know that you were beautiful before the surgery and you're beautiful now. Yeah, I don't know. So after that, and then I keep hearing other stories, and people have reached out to me here on YouTube, and I've given my personal phone number out and texted with some moms until like when they're pregnant, until they have the babies, and going through things, because I wish that I had that, because when you're going through it, it's very tough, but just know that you're strong and you're gonna get through it, and you're gonna get your baby through it. Our babies are stronger than we realize. They're very resilient. They bounce back so quick. We just have to be strong for them as well. But anyway, so this video doesn't get so rambly, because there's so many different like tangents of topics with the cleft lip and palate subject that we could talk about, but just, yeah, please just talk to me in the comments, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching.